Hey guys, it's me Nina, and for this week's video we're doing minorities. We're talking about being a minority in the workplace, specifically being a woman minority. It's how it kind of worked out. And we're going to go around, share our names, where we're from, and just a little snippet about how that kind of influences us. So to start off, you guys know me hopefully. My name is Nina and I grew up in a South Asian household. I work in education, and being South Asian, I was always encouraged to be very quiet and obedient and whatever, and it was very hard for me to kind of show who I am as a person in the workplace because I felt like I needed to fit this very, prim and proper mold that was given to me.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I went to school for corporate communications and I'm hoping to pursue a career in public relations. I am both Puerto Rican and Ecuadorian. And growing up, I think I tried fighting against that stereotype of like the fiery Latina. I hated that. I felt like it was very degrading. But then by the same token, I also wanted to make sure that my voice was heard, and I felt that I was just as equally valued as the men in my culture and the male kind of like perspective. So that kind of informs my perspective.
My name is Sophie. I am a bookkeeper and mental health counselor in training. I grew up in a Chinese household. My upbringing was very Chinese, immigrant setting, and there was a lot on being a good daughter and quote-unquote good, and also there were just a lot of subtleties in regards to perfection and how that was a must. So that informed a lot of how I grew up, and also I guess my career choice was completely opposite.
Hi, I'm Melody Mills. I did my graduate studies in human rights and now I'm working in campus ministry. My background is, my dad is African American and he also has Native American in his blood. And my mom is from Argentina, but her mom's Arabic and her dad is Italian. So mixed, but most of my upbringing has really been Argentinian culture, Latino culture. Black culture too, but we grew up with mate, with completely always speaking Spanish and stuff like that. And my family though has always been very encouraging in the sense of you can achieve whatever you want to. So that has been very ingrained in me. Set a goal and go for it and do it to do it excellently. I'm not sure if that's really cultural, but that's something that's very strong in my background.
So if you notice, the video is actually, it won't match up exactly because we're recording this after we recorded all that, but one video is going to be about being a minority in the workplace, and the second one will be about dealing with inadequacies, because I guess that just happened to come up. But we're going to be going through some different topics and answering some of your questions. But to start off, I'm actually going to try and answer a question that was a comment on a Facebook post. So something that I think you guys wanted to hear an answer about. The question is, what problems do you face that are unique to being a woman and a minority? So we'll do open forums. Whatever you guys want to share, you can share.
So when I had an internship last summer, I was working to do a management position at a retail store, and the middle management of the store was predominantly women, and there were a few men. And during the mentorship process, I had a mentor that was a man, and the head of the store was also a man. And so, although there were a lot of women, I felt personally that the head store manager was very tough and kind of I think respected the men more. Not that he disrespected the women at all, but I felt that there were few women that he really was just oh, she's one of the guys. She's tough. She has
to be one of the guys.
Yeah. So she has what it takes to do the long hours and to drive sales and things like that. And so I think a pattern in my behavior that someone recently pointed out to me was that I like to be one of the guys, in the sense that I like to be able to prove that I can hang with the bad boys and kind of do that, and I don't necessarily like being bunched with the women. And so I felt that I kind of had to work a little harder maybe to try to win the respect of the store manager. So I would also do things kind of like having like black coffee with my mentor because I knew that he like loved black coffee and like black iced coffee in the morning. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but someone mentioned it to me. They're like, yeah, you normally drink with like coffee and milk, but when you found out that your mentor liked drinking like black coffee, like you would do that in the morning, and that was kind of like your way of like grabbing a beer with him and like being that on the same like playing field.
Yeah, I think for me, this kind of goes along with being minority too. When you see someone doing something, you feel like you can do it. And something I really struggled with is you don't see a lot of women. Okay, in teaching is all women. Like, by the way, like teaching is all women. But meanwhile, in the school I work at, all of the administration is men. And yeah,
So like the
principal's a guy, the assistant principal's a guy, the other assistant principal's a guy.
What's like the demographic? Are they like
They're all white males. Oh, actually, no, they're not.
Okay.
They used to be all white males.
Okay.
Now the principal is a black male.
I also agree with a lot of what Sophie was saying, that most of the jobs that I've had were very diverse already, and they were like the culture of the place was very embracing and very the purpose, like it was meant to serve a population that was already minority. So it already had a different mentality of minorities. And in terms of male, female, I've had male supervisors, and I think I've noticed differences in the ways that women and men may supervise me, but I don't know if that's necessarily a problem. So it was more like, oh, I noticed different strengths, and I don't know necessarily if I'm trying to like make a pattern, like we're all males doing this, but
Doing your own like psychological study.
yeah. But the males that I've had as supervisors tended to be very straightforward with what needs to be done, and the females might pose it a little bit where there's room for conversation. So I'm not sure if that's a pattern, but that's what I've noticed, and I don't know if that's a problem. It might be. It could be seen like interpretively, like, oh, they're not giving me the chance to like.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. So that's what come up in my thoughts.
Okay, the next thing we want to address is actually something that I have an old coworker who's a YouTube channel, so I'll link him down below, and he talks about something called the Imposter Syndrome, and I kind of touched base on this a little bit in my earlier answer, but it's a concept describing high-achieving individuals who are marked by an inability to internalize their accomplishments as a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. And his reasoning in his video is he experienced that because he looked more like his student population than the teaching population. Like the teaching population is entirely white, and meanwhile the students are, you know, like Hispanic, like him. And that's something you might feel sometimes where you're in an environment and no one looks like you, and you feel weird being where you are. So have you guys ever felt like you didn't deserve to be where you are, or you don't? I think that's really it. Like, have you ever felt like you didn't deserve to be where you are, and do you think your race played a role in that, and how do you overcome that?
In my old job for a while, sometimes when I think back to it, I'm like, you know the whole model minority stereotype?
Yeah.
And I think that got me the job that I totally didn't deserve.
I hate that. People assume you're smart because you're Asian.
Right. I mean, it kind of worked out.
You're like in my benefit.
But, you know, if I were to really think about it, if I was the employer, I probably wouldn't have hired me. So this particular job, the previous one that I had, it was, I applied through LinkedIn, but I knew I didn't qualify, and I figured, okay, you know, maybe they'll see my resume and see that I have nothing that they're asking for. So I submit it, and it turns out, and I get this interview, I'm like, why am I here? Right. So, my employer at the time, he was just like kind of looking through it now, he's like, and I think at the end I was like, so you don't know any of this, you're applying for it. Yeah, and he just looked at the grades.
Your grades are good. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
You put your GPA and the other.
I put my major GPA.
That's the
you look like you were smart, or you sounded like you were smart, or something, or like he's
Well,
like
you're both
potential or
supposed to,
something.
You speak good.
But I'm like, if I probably wouldn't have hired me because there's so much of a risk involved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was also cheap labor at that time, so.
So it kind of worked out for you.
Right, but
you
it's
know.
like, I wonder what it would have been like if I was not Asian. Because I know there was this time, like, when I first started college, that there are certain people that befriended me because they thought I'd be smart.
Even
in a
a
certain topic, yeah. And I'm like, I proved them wrong, obviously. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was also a sentiment that follows through other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think also, like being South Asian, you kind of fall into that model minority stereotype too. And also people just expect you to act in certain ways, and if you don't fit into that, like it doesn't seem to like make sense to them, and also your culture expects you to act a certain way too, and that's hard. Like, okay, I'm a special education teacher and I work in the city, and something I really struggled with, and I feel like if I were a white male, I wouldn't have struggled, but like that's definitely me internalizing some whatever. But basically for my job, I work with people who have taught longer than I have, and I co-teach with them. So I'll be with this teacher who's been teaching for like 10 years or something, and then I'm with them. And I'm a female minority, and I got lucky because I actually work with a teacher who's also Indian, and I was telling her, I don't feel comfortable speaking up in the classroom. Like I've been taught my entire life to shut up and not speak up. So to train myself to say things, interject, and to clarify things for my students, it was really hard for me.
A couple of things come to mind, but I think they're reverse imposter.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's share that. That's awesome.
So when I worked in Ghana, I was a white lady, even though here I'm not the white lady. I'm the black lady.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, so they call me Obruni. They had this song with the kids, Obruni, Obruni, how are you? Obruni means white foreigner or something like that. So
That's super interesting.
so I was considered, because I was American, so I was automatically white. And I'm not that dark skinned. So, and I had a class that I was teaching, and like they would treat me in a way that was like roll out the red carpet.
Wow.
And I was like, I wanted to really I know I couldn't really blend in, but I wanted to be part of rather than like
You came
the
to educate
American
savages.
not even, but like just I didn't want to be treated differently than they were.
Yeah.
So and they were treating me. So I mean, I had different. Like I had some people that were like, "Oh, you're American, so like you can get money by not doing anything because of like whatever
They do
programs we have."
Yeah.
But when I was teaching the students, I felt like, I don't know, I was like constantly comparing to the US, and like I wonder like what the parallel would be, because I'm sort of like diving into two zones of like, in the US I would be the student, and there I was the teacher, and the imposter was like, I'm not better than you guys, so don't treat me like I'm better.
Yeah.
I'm actually learning from you guys, so I want to like affirm you in what you're doing, and you're doing really well. So don't act like I'm better.
Yeah.
So that was the imposter.
It's almost like they were perpetuating that stereotype.
Sort of, yeah.